Peter Thomas Fornatale back with you for our friends at DK Horse. Want to remind everybody to download the DK Horse app today. In this video, we're going to be making our Kentucky Derby bold predictions. And joining me here in the Brooklyn Podcasting Studio is Jonathon Kinchen. JK, how are things? You ready to make some bold predictions?
I'm always ready to make bold predictions, Pete.
It's not true what they say. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we won't go there. Give us the first one. Where are we going to start this conversation?
Yeah, look, I think Brad Cox has got a pretty strong hand. He's won a Kentucky Derby. He hasn't crossed the wire first in a Kentucky Derby yet. My bold prediction is he's going to have two horses in the trifecta. I think he's drawing extremely live with horses like Further Ado, the 18 horse, Commandment, the 6 horse. I think both of those two horses give him a great opportunity with different styles to get in that trifecta. I think one of those horses is a very likely winner, and then one of them is very likely to hit the board and run second or third, and then is a little bit of a saver. He's got Full Effort drawn to the outside, is another one that could pick up some pieces. So my bold prediction is Brad Cox gets two horses in the trifecta.
Now, normally I would hold your feet to the fire a little bit more on that one, but I'm not going to do that because we do have our final answer show coming up. Want to make sure folks get tuned in to that one. That's going to be streaming live on YouTube, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And that's where I'll hold your feet to the fire. So, and that's bold enough. 2 of the 3. That's not statistically likely. You went the positive direction. I'm going to go the other direction. And there's no offense intended whatsoever to this horse. I think he's a really good horse, and he could make me look bad for this prediction. But there's some things stacking up against our favorite Renegade. Okay, we have our clocker at In the Money Media. Chris Couples thinks the last works have been okay, but he hasn't been wowed by him. The horse drew the rail. There's a lot of negative hoodoo associated with the rail. Doesn't necessarily mean he can't win, but it's another negative. And then you throw in the Todd Pletcher stats in the Kentucky Derby. Look, you can spin them positive. You can a little bit positive. It's easy to spin them negative. Either way, there's just a lot of things that are not pointing in the right direction. And as you point out, there's a Cox flotilla to deal with. There's loads of other talented horses in here. Here's what I think is going to happen. He's going to run off the board. He's not going to be in the top 3. He's going to run with credit. He's going to come back in 5 weeks, and he's going to win the Belmont. So Renegade off the board. That's the one that sounds bold. We'll go with that one. And I'm going to take 2 on the bounce here, JK, in the middle of the video, because my other bold prediction is that Japan is going to hit the board. And the horse that I think is going to do it, they've got 2 in the form of Danon Bourbon and Wonder Dean. But Danon Bourbon, the more I look at him, I know he's been acting a little wild out there in the mornings at Churchill Downs. He's getting used to things, but he's fresh. He's full of himself. He ran a really fast race in his prep. I know it was going right-handed, but look, T.O. Password, who ran 4th in the Derby the other year, came out of the same race and ran the Fukuru Stakes and ran 4th in the Derby, running a figure much, much slower than Danon Bourbon. That's enough evidence for me. I think he's going to hit the board. Japan are going to get their second in-the-money finish in a Derby after Forever Young. Those are my 2 bold predictions. Bring us home with a 4th.
Mine's pretty simple. I think there's going to be a photo finish. We saw it a few years back with Sierra Leone, Forever Young, and Mystic Dan. I just feel like this one feels like one that's going to be very close. At the top of the market. These horses all seem very evenly matched. I think we're going to have a photo. I think we're going to have to wait a little bit to see who won.
I love it. It's a good one. I see where you're coming from with that, knowing what this field shapes up like on paper. Going to subscribe, going to encourage folks to subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. And you're talking about photos, JK. I'll end off with a little blessing that folks who've been around here for a minute are familiar with. May you win all your photos.